Welcome to the Missy Gordon Reading Her Essays Metamystic Show. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Metamystic Show, the Missy Gordon Reading Her Essays Metamystic Show. Buy my merch. Can you see me? Here, look at my tits. Sorry, can't say that. She said it. Hello everyone. This is not a religious podcast. This is not a religious podcast. If you thought it was, you were sorely mistaken. We thought this was a deconstruction podcast. It's not really a deconstruction podcast either, I guess. My faith deconstructed. I was a minister for 10 years. But is this a deconstruction podcast? I wouldn't necessarily call it that either. We are starting something new, something fresh. Pluto and Aquarius, everybody. Okay, so this is my vision for this podcast, okay? This is my hope. Because I've been in the deconstruction community since 2021. Way before that, I was looking into Phil Drysdale and Naked Pastor over 10 years ago. Maybe it was about 10 years ago. I'm out of breath because this shit makes me nervous. She said shit. Support the show, buy my merch. And we're gonna get to the essay, folks. Okay, but I gotta say this because it's like, what is this? What the hell is this? This podcast? It's a conglomeration of things, and this is my point. It's like, I've tried to fit in my entire life. I've tried to fit in with Christianity. I've tried to fit in with my friends, with my family, with my coworkers. I've tried to fit into groups. And when my faith deconstructed in 2021 and I left Christian ministry, I was like, you know what? Finally, a place I can belong, the deconstruction community. And this is not, don't get offended, okay? This is not me saying I don't love the deconstruction community, because I fucking do, okay? There are people like God is Gray, Brenda Davies, for example, that I really respect. I really like her a lot. Like I mentioned, Phil Drysdale. We have a lot of people, right? Okay, Naked Pastor has supported my community for many, many years. The LGBTQIA plus. Yes, even I messed up on it because we have so many damn letters in this damn thing. Okay? And don't get offended because I identify as the plus, okay? Because I can't even fit into the goddamn rainbow committee either. Okay? So this is my point. Cycling back around. What's wrong with her? She's really weird. Like, she actually scares me. I listen to her podcast and she scares me. I love the deconstruction community. There are a lot of brilliant minds there. There are a lot of people doing a lot of good. Like I said, Phil Drysdale. I mean, check out the guy's website. Type in Phil Drysdale and look this guy up. Okay? He literally has pioneered this damn movement. Okay? So if somebody needs to get a little respect, it's Phil Drysdale. Represent. Okay? Because this guy is like an analytical genius. Is he a Virgo? You're an Aquarius, Phil? I don't know what's going on there. Perfect example. Pluto in Aquarius. My goal is with this podcast, or my hope, I should say. It's not really a goal. You can't have a goal for an emotional thing. You know what I'm saying? People and emotions, you can't control the response. But what I want to do with this podcast is like within the deconstruction community, who are the outcasts there? Who are the weird ones within the niche of the niche of the niche? Micro niches. Micro niches. Micro niches. Okay, little burbonum. Burbonum? Where you at, Bo Burnham? How you doing, brother? How you doing? I say a Bo Burnham thing because I feel like his special that he did Inside, it was very much that. Another one of my recommendations if you haven't seen it. The niche of the niche of the niche of the niche. Okay? Niche, whatever. All my rating community friends are like, it's niche. I'm sorry. Okay? Niche. Whatever the fuck. Who cares? Who cares about anything? That's my point. Who cares about anything? Am I blowing up my mic? It's looking spiky, folks. It's looking spiky. So, probably hit red on that. Okay. We don't want to hit red. We want to hit black, right? Okay, here we are. Back around. She literally has a podcast where she just like existentially breaks down and just like gabs on for like an hour and a half, and we don't know what the hell she's talking about. We don't know what the point is. I am bored. I'm going to go on TikTok. 7 seconds. Here we go. I hear you. You know, my midheaven's in Gemini, so that's probably a clue for why I am the way I am. I'm also Virgo stellium. So basically, this is my opportunity to talk as much as I goddamn please. So if you don't like it, then duh! Because who wouldn't like me? That's the Leo. I also have a Leo stellium. Pluto and Aquarius, point of this podcast, micro niches. Do you support the deconstruction community? Yes. Do you feel like you're a part of the deconstruction community? Not really still. That's my point. Because it's like, there are people in the deconstruction community, not everybody, and this is my point of the point. I'm looking for the people that don't fit in with the few narratives that there are going in the mainstream of the deconstruction, the mainstream of the niche of the Christian church. Okay. I have seen many times that when people's faith deconstruct, they usually like just smash to the other end of the spectrum. This is not a comment on anybody specific, okay? But they'll slap on over there to, you know, I'm an atheist now. And I've done that a couple times in my life as well. I understand that. Pretty much all my planets are in the 12th house, so that was kind of impossible for me to remain in that category, but here we are. There's just a lot going on here. You know, I read tarot. I'm into astrology, philosophy, studying other religions. Hell, because this is my mission. I want to look at all of the religions, not all, because that would take 3 lifetimes. That would take 300 lifetimes. The main religions. Okay, the main religions, the main schools of thought. And yeah, I'm doing a beautiful mind thing right now. It's like you are connecting these dots between the different religions and schools of thought. Okay, this is my goal. Connect all of those, converge somewhere in the middle. Where do we overlap? I don't want to know what separates us and what divides us. What do we all believe in? Do we believe in prayer? Probably, in different ways. Do we believe in meditation? Maybe. You know, do we believe in miracles? I don't know, maybe. Where do we converge? Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Get to the essay. I'm bored. Okay. Let's take a sip of coffee. Yes, I have 2 cups. So I have my own sponsor, which is me. Buy my merch. Hello, okay. Links in the description. Thank you. But I also have another sponsor today, and it's winningpond.com. I'm not sure if Chris really wants to be associated with this podcast or not, but here he is in my show. Hello, Chris. How are you? Welcome. Chris is a fellow tarot reader, as well as what I consider to be a spiritual guide. So he has and check out his tarot channel, Minnow Pond Tarot. Okay, that's what this cup is all about here, folks. Thank you. Buy his merch as well. Thank you. Minnow Pond Tarot is his tarot channel. He also has Chris Reck channel, okay, with spiritual guidance and the like. But he now has a new newsletter that I would like you all to subscribe to. It is a spiritual newsletter. So it is winningpond.com. I will repeat that again, winningpond.com. Thank you. And see, that's a perfect example because it's like I'm in the tarot community. I'm in the astrology world. And I'm in the Christian deconstruction world. It's like, what the hell? Right? And you would think that those things could go together. Like, you would kind of think, like, in the deconstruction world, people would be more open to, like, tarot and hell, aliens. Let me get my deck. I love this deck. Yeah, aliens is another thing that we won't talk about today, but, you know, it's like, this, to me, is just as natural as what I'm doing here, right? I do tarot readings all the time on my TikTok, all the time on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@themetaMystic. Thank you, shameless plug. She's literally just been, like, plugging shit for the first 12 minutes of her show. Like, I don't understand the point of this. No, what I'm doing is I'm kind of trying to just, like, let you know what the hell this is. Okay, look, shadow self, denial, projection, shame. Okay, for those of you listening, I am shoveling Mystic Martian Oracle. And we got the Shadow Self card, okay? So this is my point. It's like shadow work. That's another thing. It's like, that's a big thing in the spiritual community, shadow work, right? Then we have people like Kyle Cease that I also admire, who is in the transformation world. Like, you know, there's this other side of me as well that is involved with that world. So it's like we have these three worlds, right? The Jay Shettys of the world, and Love and Light. I don't really even listen to Jay Shetty. That's just the biggest name I could think of in that kind of realm. You know, we have Eckhart Tolle. We have all these people over here in the transformation, quote unquote, spiritual sort of guru community, okay? Then we have the astrologers and the tarot readers and the witches and the new age world with our crystals and all of these things, right? I'm literally wearing right now some Moldavite. So if you want to fuck up your life, buy some Moldavite, okay? It's another comment. Then we have the Christian deconstruction community. It's like, I want all this stuff to converge on my podcast because that's just me. That's my point, and that's Pluto and Aquarius, and I believe that that's what's going to start to happen, is that it's the bleeding together of all these different things, right? Because nobody's just one thing, and especially the age that we live in now, it's like most people live more online than they do in the real world. I'm not saying that's a good thing, or I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. What I am saying is that identity and, like, what I stand for, and these are my beliefs, like, this is the new, I don't want to call it currency because that's not quite right, but this is what matters most to people, I believe now. So people like labels, people want to identify, what is this podcast? You know, I just said that, and I spent 14 minutes doing it because there is no identification. This is just me expressing my thoughts, and I have a lot of them, and I've always had a lot of them, and I lived in a state of cognitive dissonance for my entire life because I had all these conflicting views in my head at all times, that even though I was a minister, it's been hard to mingle with my own self. So I could understand why somebody would look at this podcast and be like, what the hell is she even talking about? Like, she's talking about aliens, she's talking about being a minister, she's talking about crystals, she's talking about philosophical thought. It's like, what is she talking about? I don't know. You tell me. L'chaim, buy my merch. Okay? Links in description. You know, in the marketing world, you have to say something or sell something at least 7 times to even have the opportunity to make a sale, okay? So, you know, let's do a few more. Buy my merch, 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 buy my merch. My few marketing friends here are just like, get it, girl. Chris is also in the marketing world. So Chris, if you happen to be watching this and actually want to associate with this podcast in any way, shape, or form, then shout out. Chris Rack, thank you. Okay. Now, we can begin. I got that off my chest. All right. Also, if you would like to, before I begin reading this, because as you know, I do my crazy, like, meta-narrating, meta-commentating, whatever the hell. I am the meta-mystic after all. Like, and again, a Bo Burnham reference, which I love in his, I was going to say his documentary. In his special Inside, he does this weird thing, and it's so exactly what I would consider the definition of meta-commentating. It's like there's a video of him, and then he takes that video, and then he narrates that video, and then he narrates himself narrating that video, and then he narrates himself narrating the video that he's narrating. And I'm just like, Bo Burnham, you're speaking my language, brother. Get it. But what my point is, you know, if you get really annoyed by this and just want to hear me read the whole essay through, like if you're a bore and you're not fun, I'm just kidding. I'm also recording the essay all the way through, okay? So if you just want to listen to the essay all the way through, I'll have another episode that will be entitled Unrecognizable Essay Only. Thank you. You can also, if you want to read this, if you prefer to read, you can go to my Substack at missygordon.substack.com. Thank you. Thank you all. All right. Let's get to this. Okay. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy flowing through me right now. She's demon possessed. No, I'm connected to Source. I'm living my purpose. Thank you. Yes, this is my purpose. This dumpster fire is my purpose. Okay? Thank you. Okay. She scares me. Then why are you still listening? Huh? 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 Unrecognizable by Missy Gordon. I wish my audio was more crispy. If anyone wants to help me with that, then hook me up. Because what am I working with here? An Audio Technica. Okay. You know, if you guys support this show and donate and buy merch, I'm going British for some reason, then I can upgrade my microphone and my camera. Nikon D3100 is what I'm working with now for my tech nerds out there. Alright, thank you. Unrecognizable by Missy Gordon. Let's move this a little closer here. Okay. Life and time. Sometimes life throws a wrench in things, and by things, I mean plans. You know how people say life happens while you're busy making other plans? Something like that. The more I plan, the less life works out as I thought. Learning to rest in the arms of life is like learning to rest in a bird's nest, tactically placed on the highest branch of all, supported by nothing but a tall, skinny tree. The winds come and blow against the feeble tree's trunk, and the branches sway, threatening to snap. Yet the birds are safe and sound. We are the birds. Life is like the mother bird. By the way, I'm sorry that my heat came on in the background. I forgot to turn it off. Contemplating if I should stop this. I'm going to keep going. Just look at it as white noise. I listen to white noise. Listen to white noise when I sleep because I have a hard time sleeping. Oh, I got to tell you about my dream. All right, while we're waiting for the heat to turn off, I'm going to tell you about my dream. So, I had this dream last night. It was really scary. Okay. I have a lot of dreams. I write down my dreams. I log my dreams. Okay. So this is what the dream was. And I'm going to look at the camera more, but I'm keeping my head down because this dream was really weird. Okay. So I was in a small boat, right? Like a tugboat sort of a thing. And I was actually really comforted by the fact that there was a very large boat in front of me. It was like a cruise ship level, like cruise ship size. Okay. So it was like, this was me, and then this was the ship. So it was like, I don't know exactly what it meant, but I have an idea. So it was an aerial view. It was an aerial view of the ocean. Like, I was seeing from above. Like, I was flying above the scenario. And yet, I was in the little boat. So, I was in the boat, but I was also seeing the situation from a higher perspective, right? So, I was in the little boat, then there was the big boat. All of a sudden, like the second that I said to myself, wow, I'm so happy that this big boat is in front of me to protect me from the waves. The second that I said that, the big boat disappeared. Okay. I was looking at this wave coming at me. It was a tsunami. Like, it was a tsunami level wave. Like, it is the biggest wave I have ever seen in my life. Like, I knew it was over. You know what I'm saying? When I saw the wave. And the second that I felt that way, my little boat was gone as well. Okay. So there I was now swimming in the water as the big wave was coming over, cascading over me. And I woke up. So I'm going to turn the heat off. I'll be right back. All right, it'll go off in a minute. Life is like the mother bird that encourages the baby birds to fly even though they're scared. Life is not against us even though it feels that way sometimes. It's just like my dream with that wave. It's like, you know, the crazy thing is I don't think that wave was necessarily bad. And that's why I shared the dream. It's like, I don't think that dream was bad. I think it was showing me something. And this is kind of the scenario, or this is the analogy that I'm using with us being the baby birds and life is this mother bird here. Life is not against us even though it feels that way sometimes. Life is much older and wiser than us in years and experience. She holds hands with time, and time holds hands with us. Every time I take a sip, this is what people do in marketing. Okay, at least you should know what these fallacies are in life, okay? These strategies. Every time I take a sip of this, you're looking at the cup. Every time it's subconscious, you're thinking about buying my merch right now. Okay. You know, anytime you see anything in a TV show, and I'm sure most people know this, but anytime you see like somebody drinking from, you know, a certain company's can of soda, yeah, you're never going to see anything like that isn't like sponsored. Okay. Life is a lie, in other words. Watch The Truman Show. Love you, Jim Carrey. Okay. She holds hands with time, and time holds hands with us, creating a circle. Life and time work together. planning and plotting the stops along the road trip of our lives before we even arrived on planet Earth. Let's stop at Doll's Head Trail in Georgia. Look it up. It's really crazy. I actually want to go there. It's really, really weird. There's just like doll heads everywhere. I guess it was like some sort of abandoned factory or something, and there's just like doll heads everywhere. I don't know. I'm really fascinated by weird like abandoned stuff. Like after Katrina, I watched this documentary the other night, and I forgot the name. I think it was like Closed for Storm or something like that. It was the title of it, and it was about Six Flags. I'm not sponsored by Six Flags. Don't sue me. Thank you. So it was basically just like after Katrina, they never reopened this Six Flags location, and it was just like really weird. So anyways, I like dystopian shit. So anyways, these two, life and time, could be compared to a mother and a father. But like a stubborn mule, we kick against the pricks of their guidance. Kicking against the pricks is an ancient idiom that basically implies fighting against one's fate, therefore getting hurt in the process. A prick was a stick covered in spikes, used to nudge stubborn animals to move. I am that animal. Or I was, but I'm getting better. Maybe. Maybe, baby. Also, like I said before, if you get annoyed with the fact that I keep cutting off as I'm reading this essay, you can, first of all, listen to the episode that is essay only that I will post after this. You can always expect that. Second of all, you can go to my Substack at missygordon.substack.com. Thank you. Old versus new. Old versus new. Change is never pleasant. Why is that? Especially if that change is for the better. I ran and ran until I collapsed. And still I continued to crawl even after hitting the ground in exhaustion. I was running from fate, the pricks of life and time, like I was running for my life. But I didn't know that's what I was doing. And I'm probably still doing now. Kyle Cease, shout out to Kyle Cease, second mention of you in my podcast, Kyle Cease, love you, brother. Kyle Cease talks about growing into the higher self in a similar way. Look him up on YouTube, actually, because he's always posting really, really important information. Let's just say that, okay? So if you want to listen to somebody that you can, like, trust, I would say Kyle Cease is one of those people. I have a list, and he's on that list. You're on my list, Kyle. You're on my list. Kyle Cease talks about growing into the higher self in a similar way. He explains that we resist our own evolution, even if it's good. Because if we evolve, the old self dies. The old self is fighting to stay alive. The old habits, people, places, and perspectives crying out, grabbing us by the ankles, hoping their haunting screams will persuade us to turn back to that familiar place of comfort. Have you ever heard the call of an elk? You know what? Let's do that. Let's do that. Call of an elk. Here we go. Sorry, I'm on my other account. Okay, and what I mean by that is I don't have the... Okay, I'm on my Metamystic channel. Okay, look up the Metamystic on YouTube and go watch my tarot readings. Okay, thank you. Here we go. How's that? Now you've heard the sound of an elk if you never have. Alrighty, back to the essay. Have you ever heard the call of an elk? You have now. If you were hiking in the woods at dusk and you heard the call of an elk without knowing what it was, you may be terrified. The same goes for change, because we don't know what we're hearing. Like, if you heard that in the middle of the freaking night, you'd be like, what? Is that somebody screaming? Like, you'd be like freaked out. Change is the same way. Like, it's cloaked, you know? It's not what we think it is, in other words, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. The same goes for change, because we don't know what we're hearing. We are typically afraid of change because we assume it's bad or dangerous. But does unknown automatically mean bad? Unrecognizable. Post-change, my own reflection looking back at me in the bathroom mirror rocked me to my core. I felt like I didn't recognize myself again. This phenomenon has happened again and again, and it's only later that the transformation seems like a good thing. We are here on this planet to become unrecognizable again and again and again. Pause for effect. We are here to go from one form to another, like the caterpillar to a butterfly, or a tadpole to a frog. Now, for those of you that are not watching, and I would suggest watching at youtube.com/@themetaMysticShow, because, I'm so entertaining. But now I'm currently putting on a frog hat because I'm about to talk about frogs, and I'm about to talk about the metamorphosis of a frog, so I'm now wearing a frog hat for said section. Thank you. She's so wacky. We love her. I used to bring tadpoles home from a little pond near my house when I was growing up. When did we stop seeing the wonder of the world? Maybe change wouldn't feel so scary if we weren't so serious all the time. I'm talking to myself. So what? We go from tadpole to frog. Why is that so bad? The in-between. During metamorphosis, there are steps in between. Usually when we transform, we think about the beginning of the transformation, tadpole, and then the end, frog. But what about all those little steps in the middle? Oftentimes, we turn around and walk back to where we started from when the transformation is almost complete. Why do we do this? It's kind of like the imagery I'm getting in my head. It's like if you are digging for treasure and you've been searching for this treasure for like 20 years, right? And literally, if you just dug like 1 inch deeper, you would have hit that treasure chest. But because it took so long, you're just like, screw it. I've been believing in this treasure for years. I'm done looking for it. It's like you were an inch away. You were an inch away. Why do we do this? Maybe it's because we forget about the other less flashy parts of the transformation and confuse this lull, or bridge, with going the wrong direction. Maybe we begin feeling like we were wrong. Like we were foolish to think we were transforming, and we're silly to think it was even possible to begin with. Buy my merch, thank you. The stages. Don't turn back. Know the stages. There are 4 stages to a frog's metamorphosis. Number 1 is the egg. 2 is tadpole. 3 is froglet. And 4 is frog, the adult frog, the completed transformation. Wait, the egg is step 1? We forgot about the preface, origin story. The egg is the most important part. Without the egg, we have nothing. Many of us are in the egg stage right now, gestating, preparing to manifest lasting change and transformation. You know how people say which came first, the chicken or the egg? It's like that. We are all potential chickens. But if we never hatch, we'll never live. Some of us are fine with staying inside the egg. It's cold out there. Who knows what could eat me, the egg says. Then there are those who think they're a chicken, but they're actually an egg. And then others who have been fully formed all along, but don't give themselves enough credit. Usually it's spiritual folk who have this kind of imposter syndrome. You're already a chicken, damn it. Stop looking to eggs to tell you you're a chicken. They wouldn't know a chicken if it hit them in the face. Some people say there are too many metaphors in this essay, but I say never enough. They must be egg people who think they're chickens. Okay, I took off the frog hat. How awesome would it be if I had a chicken hat now? I just pull a chicken hat out of my ass. Somebody send me a chicken hat. I need props. You know what I'm saying? Somebody send me some props. Or buy my merch so that I can buy props. Or donate so I can buy props. Thank you. How many times is she going to shamelessly plug herself? As many as it takes. Okay? This is my 5th business, folks. Just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding, but even this is the conclusion I've come to. Okay? The War of Art, Stephen Pressfield, great book. Actually first got that book recommendation from my business mentor as well as my stock market mentor, Sandy Krakowski. Learned about that book from her. Also, surprisingly, I also heard about it from Chris Reck. So another shameless plug for Chris Reck, winningpond.com newsletter. Subscribe. winningpond.com. Thank you. But that's actually one of my favorite books. And in that book, he talks about the fact that it's like, I'm just going to summarize, okay, the point. One of the points that have stuck with me from that book. It's like, just create. You know, even if this does bomb again, because I've tried so many things in my life. Like, I have tried so many things, you guys, right? And none of them were failures. Like, there's no such thing as a failure, in my opinion. They're all learning experiences. We grow from them. They compound upon one another that lead us to where we're really meant to be. Like, all of these different skills, they fit together over time. But anyways, it's like, even if 3 people listen and watch this podcast, that's okay, because I woke up today and lived my truth, right? That's what he talks about throughout the book. It's like, if you're a writer, write. If you're a singer, sing. You know, me paraphrasing. It's like, just be what you are and who you are. Even if it isn't quote unquote successful by whatever the hell standard that is. Because me sitting here reading you this essay, that is me living my truth. Okay. Back to the essay. Challenging the challenger. There is a challenger within us all. And the challengers outside of us simply confirm the challenger within. Why are you doing that? Why are you wearing that? Why are you saying that? Why are you like that? We criticize ourselves at our most critical moment, teeter-tottering on the edge of glory only seconds away from true freedom. I think I'll move away from the cliff. That seems like the logical thing to do. But that's the challenger. Never believe the challenger. It lives only to challenge. You could be on the brink of curing cancer and the challenger will ask, "Are you sure you really want to do this?" The challenger is always a challenge. So learn to challenge. Dare to challenge the challenger. Why am I doing that? Because I want to. Why am I wearing that? Because I like it. Why am I saying that? Because I think it's funny. Why am I like this? Why are you like that? Even Jesus answered questions with questions. Hit the challenger with political word salad. How else do you think these guys become president or convince billionaires to fund their startups? That one point reminds me of this story that James Altucher tells in his book Skip the Line. Again, got that recommendation from Chris Reck. Thank you, Chris. Have mentioned Chris multiple times in this podcast. So hello. No, but in all seriousness, I really do respect Chris. I'm not like kidding about that. Because I did get this book recommendation from him, and James Altucher is a really interesting fella. I'm not going to go too deep about this because Malcolm Gladwell, for those of you who know, I love the book Outliers, and I'm not going to say I don't, but the specific idea that you need to, and I'm going to get back to the essay, that you need to spend 10,000 hours to become an expert at something, that's James Altucher's retort, is that he's basically saying, I challenge that. Speaking of the challenger, love Malcolm Gladwell, but I'm just saying James Altucher has some interesting points in that book, Skip the Line. Basically, he is saying, no, you don't have to spend 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. Just as an example, it's like convincing billionaires to fund their startups. There was a specific story in there where he talks about trying to convince a billionaire to fund their startup, basically. There's a lot of really interesting stories in that book and a lot of like gold nuggets in there that I got out of that book. You know, another thing I should do is book summaries, but a lot of people do those on YouTube, so look it up. If you don't want to read the full book, I'm sure there's probably a Skip the Line summary somewhere. Anyways, that's another book rec I got for you. I told Chris that he should do Rex with Rec. So, you know, where are you at, Chris, with Rex with Rec? Come on, missed opportunity, brother. Okay, enough. Focus. I'm only mentioning Chris so many times. Of course, I do love Chris, and I love his content, and I love his messages, but I'm also really wanting to work with him on his Winning Pond newsletter. So mentioning that again here, because I do believe in what he's doing, and I believe that even though we're in kind of different sectors in a way, even though we both do tarot, it's like this is a perfect example of like holding hands with people that maybe are like in a little bit of a different world than you, but like also meeting in the middle somewhere, if that makes sense. So anyways, also Pluto and Aquarius, right? It's like all about the collective coming together and working together. So these are just examples, just using things as examples here for folks. The first step to true evolution is learning how to play the game without actually having to play the game at all. Use the game against the game. Challenger against challenger. The old you versus the new you. The challenger is simply a program of the mind that is fixed. The beauty is, this program can be rewritten. Why are you like that? Why are you like that? This challenges the challenger within, aka the old self, and gives you about 0.3 seconds of wiggle room to quickly imprint the information of the new self. These tiny rebellious statements against the program help solidify the new self, blasting you past the neural pathways of the mind that were already formed. You don't need a 10-point argument to outsmart the system. You simply need to challenge the challenger with the new data again and again and again until the new pathways are formed. Also, affirmations help with this. Trust me, like I really have thought affirmations were super corny. And I'm just going to be real with you, you know? But when I put those bad boys on when I'm in the shower and it's just kind of like seeping into my brain and I'm hearing my own voice saying them out loud, there are, not the whole time, but there are these few seconds of like a moment of feeling like, you know what? I am powerful. I am taking steps to live my dream. Like, for example, it's like you have that little moment of clarity. That's worth the 20-minute affirmation video. Even if you have that literal, like I said here, 0.3 seconds is all you need. You have that connection between the mind and the heart where it's like you believe, even if it's only for 0.3 seconds, that the new you is the new you, right? You don't need a 10-point argument to outsmart the system. You simply need to challenge the challenger with the new data again and again until the new pathways are formed. 0.3 seconds is all you need to hit that finish line before the old you catches up. New you versus old you. Challenger versus challenger. Outsmart the old you so the new you can emerge. Checkmate. We're almost done, folks. This is the last section. I know we live in a TikTok world. I'm a TikTok girl in a TikTok world. The meta mystic on TikTok. Okay. See, game against game. That's a perfect example. I don't really necessarily even agree with short form content because I think it does something funny to the brain. And yet, I also believe that what are we going to do? Just argue from the fucking sidelines and just be like, this fucks up your brain. It's too late. Most of society is going short form. That's just the way the things are going. So instead of just being against shit for the sake of being against it, get in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you have to be part of it. I'm just saying be in there because that's where people are. I want to be where the people are. Be where the people are. To quote my business mentor, Sandy Krakowski, again, she always talked about that as well. I learned all of my copywriting, marketing, business. I learned the stock market from her and her partner, John Bilal. Okay, so anyways, my point is, use the game against the game. I'm on TikTok. I do short form content. Even though I kind of feel like, because something like this is long form, for example. I know even I have a hard time. I listen to 2.5-hour lectures to take one piece of information out. I'm that person. And even for me, sometimes it's hard to listen all the way through to a Rich Roll podcast, even though I love Rich Roll, just as an example. So I don't take it as, I don't take it as an insult if people can't listen all the way through this, but at the same time, we got to figure out, how do we get information to people? How do we get important information to people in the most efficient way, in the most powerful way possible? Let me know. Tell me in the comments. Let's work together. All right, this is our final section, and it's called Synecdoche. Synecdoche. There's a quote from the movie Synecdoche, New York that has always stuck with me. Knowing that you don't know is the first and most essential step to knowing, If you look up the trailer for Synecdoche, New York, I think she says it in the trailer if you want to see it said. A synecdoche is when you use a part of the whole to explain the whole. A part of the whole picture to explain the whole picture. Like, nice wheels when referring to a car. A car consists of many parts. It's not just the wheels. That's an example of a synecdoche. In the same way, one human life is an example of a synecdoche. A part, one person, that refers to the whole, all of humankind. And a step further, the true whole being of God. Going back to the quote, the first step to knowing is knowing that you don't know. Blind faith, if you will, trusting the universe, diving headfirst into the unknown with reckless abandon. Not knowing is the first step to actually knowing, If we continue to pretend like we know, we will never know. We will stay in the egg. Now I wish I had like an egg hat or something. That'd be sick. But the moment we admit that we don't know, that's the first step to actually finding the answer. Becoming unrecognizable is the first of many steps that lead to actually getting to know yourself and in turn getting to know others, and as a whole, getting to know God. Thank you, everyone. It's been Missy Gordon, the Metamystic here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Unrecognizable. If you would like to get a written copy of the essay, again, missygordon.substack.com. You can also wait for the essay-only format episode coming out after this if you'd like to listen straight through. Great to have you guys here. Again, if you would like to purchase merch, you can get it through my Etsy shop. All the links are down below. You can also donate to support the show. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Look at my tits again. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a great time. Have a great life. The time is a man-made construct. Peace.